Jealousy is one of the most complex and painful human emotions. It creeps into our hearts quietly, often disguised as something else: anger, resentment, even indifference. But when we look closer, we recognize its distinct signature: that burning sensation in the chest, the obsessive thoughts that circle our minds like vultures, the way it distorts our perception of reality. What makes jealousy so powerful is its dual nature. On one hand, it feels deeply personal, as if it's revealing some fundamental flaw in our character. On the other, it's utterly impersonal, a universal human experience that has existed as long as love and desire themselves. The ancient Greeks had multiple words for jealousy, recognizing its various shades and manifestations. In Latin, it was called invidia, from which we get the word envy, but which originally meant to look upon, suggesting how much of jealousy is about perception and comparison. At its core, jealousy is a response to threatened loss. Psychologists identify it as a reaction to the potential loss of an important relationship or status to a rival. But this clinical definition doesn't capture its visceral intensity. When we feel jealous, our body reacts as if facing a physical threat. Our heart races, our muscles tense, our thoughts become singularly focused. This is because jealousy taps into some of our most fundamental human fears: the fear of abandonment, the fear of inadequacy, the fear of being replaced or forgotten. What's fascinating is how jealousy often says more about our relationship with ourselves than our relationship with others. When we feel jealous of someone's success, it's usually because their achievement touches on our own insecurities or unfulfilled aspirations. Their happy relationship highlights our loneliness. Their professional accomplishment reminds us of our stalled ambitions. Their confidence underscores our self-doubt. In this way, jealousy acts as a mirror, showing us aspects of ourselves we might otherwise avoid confronting. The destructive power of jealousy lies in its ability to trap us in comparative thinking. It makes us view life as a zero-sum game, where someone else's gain must be our loss. This mindset is not only inaccurate. The world is far more complex and abundant than that, but it's also self-defeating. When we're consumed by jealousy, we become blind to our own opportunities and strengths. We waste energy resenting others instead of cultivating our own growth. Yet, for all its negative reputation, jealousy isn't entirely useless. Like physical pain, it serves an important function. It alerts us to what matters most to us. The things that make us jealous are often precisely the things we care about deeply but feel we're lacking. In this sense, jealousy can be a compass pointing toward our deepest values and desires, if we learn to interpret it wisely. Transforming jealousy requires several conscious shifts. First, we must learn to sit with the discomfort without immediately acting on it. This means recognizing the physical sensations and thought patterns without judgment. Second, we need to separate the feeling from the stories we tell ourselves about it. Just because we feel jealous doesn't mean our fears are true or that the other person has wronged us. Third, we can use the energy of jealousy as motivation, not to tear others down, but to build ourselves up. Ultimately, the way through jealousy isn't around it, but through it, by facing what it reveals about our insecurities and unmet needs. When we do this work, we often find that what we thought was jealousy of others was really a longing to fully become ourselves. The fire of jealousy, when tended wisely, can forge greater self-awareness and compassion rather than consume us in bitterness. The goal isn't to eliminate jealousy entirely. That would be impossible and perhaps undesirable. Rather, it's to develop a different relationship with it, to hear its message without being ruled by its demands, to use its energy constructively rather than destructively, and to recognize it as part of our shared human experience rather than a personal failing. In the end, jealousy loses its power when we stop seeing others as mirrors of our inadequacy and start seeing ourselves as the authors of our own becoming. The things that trigger our jealousy today may become the signposts guiding us toward a more authentic tomorrow, if we have the courage to follow where they lead. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, self-honesty, and the willingness to sit with discomfort. But each time we meet jealousy with understanding rather than resistance, we reclaim a little more of our peace, our power, and our capacity to celebrate others without diminishing ourselves. And that may be the most profound victory of all.